everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back on another episode of the Daily Recap. It has been a long Memorial Day weekend, but we are back. Happy to be here, and thank you everybody for joining and watching. First of all, just want to give a big shout out to everyone who came to the Boston meetup. Really was incredible. I've got some videos and some pictures that I'm going to share at the end of this Daily Recap for people to check out, but it's hard to put into words what it feels like when people actually take time out of their busy lives to come meet up, be with each other, network in the community. And it was awesome stuff. So very cool to meet with everyone in Boston. Next meetup likely is Miami in August. I will give a lot more details on that in the future, but the next meetup looks like it's going to be in August. Folks, we had a great day in the stock market. S&P 500 up 2%. We have a lot of stuff to talk about in the macro in terms of why markets went green today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Bitcoin and Microstrategy. The Bitcoin conference is this week, so you're going to be hearing a lot more updates about Bitcoin. Palantir got a new partnership. Nvidia earnings is tomorrow. We'll talk about Nvidia. And then Tessie at almost 360 right now. It's having a fun day. We'll talk about what's going on with Tesla. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Daily recap. Let's get into it. All right, so let's start off with the macro. I think we'll go with that first and try to kind of dissect what is happening and why it's happening and why we're seeing some of the momentum that we're seeing in the stock market today. So everything's up right now. I mean, I'm looking at a bunch of different stocks. SMCI is up 5%, AMD is up 4%, Nvidia is up 3%, CrowdStrike's up 3.4%, Apple's up 2.6%, Robinhood got to 67.13 today. Robinhood right now 65.59. DJT's down 10%. That's Trump stock. We'll talk about that when we get to crypto because we got some interesting news right there. Bitcoin at 109. ASTS is up 3%. Even TLT is up, which means that bond yields are coming down, which is very good. One of the stocks is actually not super up today is Palantir. Palantir is red. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask, why is Palantir red today when everything's green? I don't know. I really don't. It might be some fund that's unloading a position. It might be, just more selling than buying in regards to different institutions that are taking profits right here. But I actually don't know why Palantir is red. It should be green on a day like this, but it is what it is. So that stock is red on the day. Why is this happening? A couple reasons. Number one is Japan. So I talked about Japan a lot last week in terms of what was happening. And the TLDR is that Japan had bond yields that were going higher, which means there wasn't enough demand for their bonds. Their 30-year, 40-year, and 20-year bonds were not having good auctions. Even in the United States, we didn't have a good auction on our 20-year bond. Not as bad as Japan, but still, it wasn't the best. Today, if you take a look at the picture right here, Japan bond yields are coming down. And they're coming down very, very nicely. Now, why are they coming down? Well, one of the reasons that they're coming down is because Japan and their Ministry of Finance late last night, which was early in Japan's morning, said that they were sounding out the market on bond sale amounts, particularly with considerations to trim issuances of super long-term bonds. What does that mean? Essentially, they're going to be reducing the supply of the amount of long-term bonds that they offer to the market that they issue, which should theoretically help the demand that's currently in for the current bonds that are being issued and not dilute people by issuing even more and more bonds, because then obviously if there's less demand, more supply, those prices go down in the cases of the bonds, which means the yields go up, and that's not good for anyone. Now, the reason Japan is so important, our 10-year, by the way, below 4.5 today in the United States, our 30-year below 5%, both of those metrics where the 30-year was touching 5.05% last week and the 10-year was touching 4.7. The reason this matters is because there is something called a carry-yen trade that we've talked about. A lot of you guys probably know about it, but essentially it's borrowing yen to be able to buy assets in US dollars and being able to pay a difference in the spread between the borrowing cost and then the amount of money you can make on the US assets in the middle, because it's really cheap to borrow yen. So we need to make sure that yen carry trade doesn't explode like it did in August. In my opinion, the percentage of funds that are short the yen is significantly lower than it was in August, and no one thought Japan was going to raise rates, and they raised rates in August of 2024. That's what really got the yen carry trade started. But the fact that that's not happening to the same extent anymore means I don't think we have to worry about that as a blow up, but something could blow up in the context of bond yields if things were to get aggressive. And based on this Japan announcement last night, I think we have less of a risk of that happening. So that was really good for the US markets, which is very important. Then you got Trump, who tweeted this today. I was extremely satisfied with the 50% tariff allotment on the European Union, especially since they were slow walking our negotiations with them. Remember, I'm empowered to set a deal for trade in the United States if we are unable to make a deal or treated unfairly. I've just been informed that the EU has called to quickly establish meeting dates. This is a positive event, and I hope that they will finally, like my same demand to China, open up the European nations for trade with the United States of America. Yesterday, Sunday or Monday, Trump moved forward the tariff deadline for Europe from June 30th or from June 1st to July 9th. So now that 50% tariff that he put on the European Union, which he announced on Friday and got markets to be upset for like 5 seconds and then they moved on. That's not going to happen on June 1st. That's going to happen a month later. Now, what that realistically means is that it's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to have 50% tariffs on Europe. He's saying that we are doing it in terms of this 1 month delay. But in that delay, as he tweeted this morning, there's going to be conversations, and hopefully those conversations are very productive. And from those productive conversations, we should see less of a 50% tariff rate, hopefully down to like 10 or 15%, something reasonable, something that's a win-win for both sides. So you've got Japanese bond yields that are down. Very good for U.S. markets and particularly U.S. credit markets. You've got Trump saying, hey, a trade deal with the EU seems likely, given we are starting to negotiate in a more meaningful way. And then you had White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett, who said two things. Number one, he said the India deal is close to the finish line. We don't know if he's lying or not, but like if we take him at his word, then that's a good thing. If the India deal is getting close to the finish line, and if that's the next big one that's announced before the EU, that would be very important. And then this one was also really important, and this is kind of something that I've been talking about for a while now. He said, quote, tariffs could go to 10% or less for some countries. Lower tariffs would be good for countries with good offers. This is very important. Why? We don't need to be tariffing Zimbabwe and South Africa and Vietnam and Thailand 10%. We don't need to be doing that. Or 30, 40%, whatever our reciprocal tariff rates are right now. Even 10% is aggressive. If we can get concessions from them and that 10% goes down to like 5%, the average tariff rate, which right now is 14%, it was 24%. A couple months ago, it was 2.7%. It's at 14, still up aggressively. But if that 14 can come down to 7, inflation expectations will come down. That will make Powell and the Fed hopefully more likely to cut rates. And if that happens, there is a good shot that growth stocks will do well in a lower rate environment, but also that the broader economy will function well when we have lower rates. So whether it was Japanese bond yields or what Hassett is saying about lowering tariff rates and an India deal coming soon, or about Japanese bond yields coming down and helping U.S. treasuries, you had a lot of good stuff happen this morning to create momentum for why your portfolio was likely green today. The final thing I'll say right here is consumer confidence we got this morning, 98 versus 86. 98 versus 86. That's a hell of a beat. That's a good one. We needed to see that. So on the consumer confidence scale, the market thought consumers would be confident to the tune of 86. We ended up being 98. It means that even with all the different uncertainties we've got going on, consumers are still confident. And that's another reason why the markets are not doing too bad. All right, let's talk Tessie. What's going on with Tesla? So Tesla stock, not a bad day, dude. Tesla stock was at like 348 in the morning. And as of right now, Tesla's at 359. We did hit 363.79, up about 5.8% of the day. Why is Tesla up? So a couple things that happened today. The Chinese registrations came out, 11,000 insured Tesla cars. Not good, not great, not horrible, not bad. It was just kind of average. So it was a headline that like is cool, but it's not that crazy. So that's the first thing that happened with Tesla today. Not something you would think is market moving. And then number two, UBS came out and they said we retain our sell rating on Tesla. They just think it's a lot of hype right now. They have a price target of 190. So they came out and reaffirmed their sell. We had Morgan Stanley last week come out and say we reaffirm our buy. So you do have competing firms in terms of they think philosophically about Tesla. And then three, this was kind of the worst headline this morning. The European sales of Tesla in the month of April are down 49%, even though the overall EV market is up 30%. So you have EV sales as an aggregate of all the car manufacturers in Europe going up 30%. You have Tesla sales year over year down 49%. I believe they sold about 7,500 cars in the month of April throughout the entire EU. Those headlines are not that good. UBS says sell, Chinese registrations are whatever, nothing too good. And then you got the EU saying, hey, maybe the brand damage stuff is a little bit more intense than expected still, given that Tesla sales are down 50%, even though the entire EV market grew 30%. Having said that, the stock went up. Now, why is the stock going up? I think it's for a couple of reasons. And so let me say the first reason that's not anecdotal, and then I'll give you the second reason. The first reason right here is that I think what's interesting about Tesla now is that Elon on Friday, we didn't have a daily recap on Friday. If you missed the market close, then you probably missed this news. Elon tweeted that the only way to save America, I'm summarizing what he said, but this is essentially his argument, is to accelerate GDP growth. And he basically said that Doge is going to stop is going to delay the bankruptcy of America, but it's not going to stop it unless we accelerate GDP growth. Today, someone had some tweet about how Elon, tried to do Doge, but he fell into the bureaucracy, yada, yada. And then Elon responded to it, I tried my best. Elon is basically acknowledging that the bureaucracy of the government based on this budget bill, which is going to increase the deficit by a couple $1 trillion or $4 trillion over the next decade. Now, we may be able to grow out of that, but that's theoretical. We're going to have to see what happens over the next decade. The point is, Republicans and Democrats are both acknowledging, hey, this is definitely going to increase our deficit spending. Elon's entire point of Doge was to stop that and save America from waste and fraud. And there's probably a lot of waste and fraud inside of this bill that Elon just can't cut through because at the end of the day, he's only one person. Elon's acknowledgement that Doge is not going to work out the way he thought it was going to work out, and explicitly telling people on X that he's ready to come back to Tesla. And he's literally saying, "Hey, wartime CEO is back. I'm here. Like, I'm focusing on accelerating GDP growth, which means robots, FSD. I have to figure out how to grow this economy because that's the only way we can deal with our debt." That, I think, is giving Tesla a little bit of a bid. This is the only thing you want to hear as a Tesla shareholder. I mean, as much as you love Doge or the concept of it, which I was a big fan of because I do think that we need to do something about our economy right now and our deficit spending, Elon's acknowledging there's just not much he can do at this point. And from that perspective, he's focusing back on Tesla. So I think that's a big, big reason why Tesla's probably up 5% of the day. It could also just be up because the macro is up, right? Like, so that's fine. But I do think there is a little bit more of a bid being given to Tesla because people are recognizing that Elon is now coming back. The anecdotal reason is I FSD'd to Boston for 5 hours when I went to the Boston meetup, and I had zero interventions. When I say zero interventions, I did not have to put my hands on the wheel and stop the car for 5 hours going to Boston and for 5 hours coming back from Boston. It was the most incredible experience with AI I've ever had in regards to a car taking me from point A to point B without me having to intervene. And so I made a video about it. And again, I'm not a big like Tesla fanboy. I'm not in the Tesla community like that. I mean, like, I talk about Tesla, I cover Elon Musk. Obviously, it's important stock when you're covering the markets, but it's not like I'm one of those people that's like known for his takes on Tesla. I do a video on it because I'm like, hey, why not? Like, let me just tell everyone if everyone's asking for updates, and here's my update. This is what I felt. Apparently, Mr. Elon Musk sees that video and he posts it to his 240 million followers, and 35 million of them watch it. I'll play the video right here, but it's a little cringe because I was talking about my Boston hat in the beginning, and then I said Tesla earnings sucked at the end. Like, I didn't expect Elon Musk to freaking share it, but this is the video.
All right, Boston, I'm here. As you can see, although my Knicks, had to do what they had to do, I decided to rep the hat today. Although my Knicks are getting clobbered in the finals, so it's whatever. But gonna have the meetup in a bit. Really excited to see everyone in Boston. One thing I just wanted to say is the Tesla FSD ride that I did yesterday, coming from New Jersey to Boston. First time I ever drove 5 hours. I think the most I did before was 3 hours, but that was not an FSD car. Yesterday was FSD, and it was wild. Like, I did not have to take control of the car, because the car didn't make any mistakes. And it was just insanity. I stopped in the middle to get some food, and that's pretty much it. And then throughout the next 2 hours, I think I stopped 3 hours in. First 3 hours, nothing happened. Next 2 hours, nothing happened. There were some moments where I kind of wanted to take control because I was like, oh, is it really going to make this lane switch? Is it really going to take this exit? And it just does it. And it's getting to the point where I'm starting to believe that neural nets and the way Tesla is thinking of AI philosophically, and then obviously paradigmatically in terms of the technical execution, is supreme. It's better. It's better than everyone else. And now robotaxi is going to be obviously something hard to scale, but the product itself is so good. And this is why Tesla didn't have to do advertising for so many years, right? If the product is so good, people will inevitably find it. I think this might be the same thing when they unveil robotaxi. So this was a wild experience. I got 5 hours tomorrow to go back to New Jersey. Not going to hopefully have to intervene again as well. And yeah, I feel like I need more Tesla. I know it's expensive. I know the earnings sucked, but I feel like I need more Tesla.
FSD is real, baby. It's here. And I haven't really been buying Tesla all year. I mean, I bought some in January, bought a little bit in February. I've been mainly buying Nvidia when it comes to my Max 7 exposure. I know Tesla's expensive. I know the earnings were not the best. I know the earnings are probably not going to be that good for the next coming quarters. But, and I know everyone hates that but it's like, this is the future. This really is the future. And so my acknowledgement of the future personally is a reason for why I think I'm going to start DCing into Tesla, at least more aggressively. And, Elon sharing that video, I think a lot of people, the feedback that I got from it is like, yeah, we've experienced the same thing. So many people commented, dude, I just did a 4-hour road trip. I just did a 7-hour road trip. I did a 3-hour road trip. And everyone on the latest version of Tesla FSD hardware model 4, it's happening. Like, it's real. And it will scale. There will be a lot of execution needed by Tesla. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in a straight line, but this is the iPhone of FSD. I mean, like, this is really like neural nets, AI, the way Tesla's thinking about it. It is going to be the winner, in my opinion, in regards to being the best product. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat Waymo in terms of execution, because right now Waymo's scaling very nicely, but Waymo also couldn't take me from Boston to New Jersey for 5 hours. So the question becomes, when will Tesla unleash the scale? It's probably going to take some time, but FSD is real. I experienced it. And thanks to Elon for sharing my video with everyone, but it's a real thing and it's happening. And that could be the reason why Tesla stock is up today. More people are just starting to acknowledge FSD is real, along with the fact that Elon's leaving Doge and he's coming back to Tesla. All right, next update is Palantir. So we got a Palantir partnership today, which is very nice. Palantir announced a partnership with Bain and Company. Here's what they said. The partnership pairs Palantir's state-of-the-art AI operating systems with Bain's deep industry expertise across sectors and its extensive capabilities in strategic business transformation, enabling clients to adopt this technology more quickly. Bain is one of the top 5 consulting firms in the world. Bain and Company, Bain, McKinsey, these are some of those names that you guys might be familiar with. And Palantir is saying, hey, it's time to partner with them. Samir Kurtain, which is the head of commercial sales at Palantir, by the way, shout out to Samir, awesome guy. Met him at AIPCon a few months ago. And he really transformed Palantir's commercial business back in 2018. He said, organizations that adopt our AI operating systems fundamentally change their unit economics, often requiring organizing around our technologies. We believe Bain can help our customers accelerate their pace of adoption and as a result, lead their respective industries. So what's the point of this partnership? It's pretty simple. Palantir is accelerating their go-to-market approach with a variety of different clients. Last week, it was with SAP, biggest technology company in Europe, 400,000 clients. The week before that, it was with TWG in regards to regional banks and what Palantir was going to do in the financial sector. And today it's with Bain. Bain works with everyone. Bain is one of the biggest consulting firms in the world. So I think if Bain says, hey, being able to use Palantir to help guide our clients in their digital transformation, AI accelerated data-driven operations, and then Palantir can say, hey, we can get access to your clients and we can give them the best content, the best talent, the best forward deployed engineers, et cetera. It makes sense for a symbiotic partnership to happen in that respect and for that to be good for Palantir, the company. Now, the stock, again, I know it's red today. I really don't know why. It could be some fund that's selling. Maybe we're going to get some news later that's not the best. I don't really know. Usually on a green day, Palantir tends to go in green with the market. But the point is these partnerships are good. And again, about the stock, we can't get greedy here, right? The stock's holding almost a $300 billion market cap. I think just consolidating and marinating and normalizing triple digits is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. Even if this thing goes back down to 100, even if it goes back to now to 95, like these are very high multiples for Palantir. The fact that it's holding this level to me is what's the most impressive. And for it to continue to hold these multiples, we need to grow. And for us to grow, we need to have a lot of partnerships. And those partnerships need to be very expansive. Again, Palantir has less than 800 customers. I think one day they will have 8,000 customers. That journey, I think, will make Palantir, the stock, more valuable. The company obviously will become more valuable. But in the short term, anything can happen. So I don't really read much into why it's red today. I mean, we've got an $800 million extension on Project Maven last week, right? So we've got a lot of good news, good updates, strong things happening for the company. This partnership, just another one of those partnerships that will continuously accelerate, in my opinion, in the future. But overall, in terms of the stock going red, I think that's just like day-to-day movements in terms of the broader markets. But Palantir, Bain, no updates on Golden Dome yet. Trump didn't give us any hints of if Palantir is working on that. I think they are, but hopefully we get some updates soon in the future. This partnership, just another one that should help Palantir get a lot more customers. Okay, so in terms of Nvidia, look, my argument here is really simple. We're going to get earnings tomorrow, so I'll do a deep dive tomorrow after we get the earnings, and we'll kind of really see what's going on and like how the company performed. One thing I will say is Morgan Stanley put out, or JP Morgan put out a summary today of their expectations on earnings. And there's two things that stand out to them that are rather bearish. Number one, they think most analysts have not put into their expectations the China write-off, the China $5.5 billion charge-off that they had, that we got an announcement from 3 weeks ago. And their argument is, hey, if that is true, and most analysts haven't projected that, because again, on earnings, it's all about estimates and projections. And if you miss those projections, even if you had a great quarter, it doesn't matter. Like the stock could still tank simply because you missed the projections. That would be like a $7 billion hit on guidance going into June. And if analysts are saying, hey, they're only going to take a $920 million hit, but JP Morgan said today, we think it's going to be like a $7 billion hit. That could be a really crappy guidance number that could send the stock falling. If the stock falls based on that, I will buy that dip because I don't think that really matters that much. But if you're playing it from a short-term perspective, that could be something that at least JP Morgan says the street might not be thinking about. And then number two, they said, we don't think the street is fully thinking about the gross margin. So NVIDIA's gross margins used to be in that 78 range. Last quarter, they were like barely above 71. They said that it'll be back above 70 by the end of the year. JP Morgan saying, hey, it might be 58% gross margins for the first quarter. And if that's at 58% and the current sell side consensus is 71.1%, that's a massive miss. So I think we just need to be realistic going into earnings. I don't know if it's going to be 58 or 71 or if there's going to be a $7 billion guidance miss. I am just looking at the stock price that is up 35% from the lows, at least in the past month. And I'm like, hey, if it falls 10 or 15%, oh well, right? It's consolidating. If it goes up 10 or 15%, I'm not going to expect it to go up 30%. And if it stays flat, which is what it's done for the past couple quarters, even though the implied move is 8% on this quarter, then all right, that's what we got for Nvidia. So I will have a much bigger deep dive tomorrow after we get the numbers, but going into tomorrow, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good earnings. I don't really care about the short-term price action. I think even with the China charge-off, there's plenty of demand coming from sovereign governments, UAE, XAI. Elon said he wants to buy 1 million GPUs last week. And so I think Nvidia is going to be around for a very long time. The question is simply going to be what results they report tomorrow and how does it affect the actual margins and the guidance profile. And we're going to find out tomorrow, but I have full faith in Jensen that he's going to be able to put up a decent quarter, even if it doesn't match the analysts' consensus. But if it does, and they beat and raise, Nvidia could have a fun day tomorrow. MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. What the heck is going on with this? So Bitcoin hit 110 again today. A lot of people are upset because MicroStrategy is red. MicroStrategy right here, slightly green of the day at 371, but it's down from 420. Saylor finally said what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, which is that he's diluting shareholders and he doesn't care. They're going to tap the ATMs, the ATMs, the at the money offerings to be able to, or at the market offerings, to be able to raise more money to buy more Bitcoin. MicroStrategy bought 4,000 Bitcoin last week. They now have like 580,000 Bitcoin. They don't care. They really don't care. And I think we'll get a lot more updates throughout the Bitcoin conference. Vlad from Robinhood will be speaking there today as well. And we'll get to see more kind of how people are philosophically thinking about crypto. But to show you how much Saylor does not care about what people think about what he's doing to raise money to buy Bitcoin, here's a video of telling you how much he doesn't care.
The other guy's like, I want a 20x levered call option that comes due in 7 days. Okay, there are a lot of those guys on Twitter, and they're always yelling at me. Right? You know, stop hammering the ATM, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, the stock's up in 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, 4 years. It's like the only time period it's not up is for your 3.5 days when you have your call option. Like, and I'm going to tell you very clearly, if you're the degenerate with the short-dated 20x call option, I'm not running the business to make you successful. Okay, you might.
So look, from that perspective, I think MicroStrategy is going to do what MicroStrategy wants to do. Now, the other more important piece of news today was Trump and Truth Social. Truth Social is raising $2.5 billion to create a Bitcoin treasury, or Trump Media, I should say, DJT stock. 1.5 billion they're issuing in stock, so diluting to be able to raise that money, and the other 1 billion they're getting in convertible notes with a 0% coupon rate, which is exactly what MicroStrategy did for the majority of 2024. Now, this is really interesting. Am I a fan personally of Trump using the commander-in-chief power and position that he has to be able to raise money for his personal net worth when it comes to DJT? No, I really don't like that. I've never been a fan of it. I've not been a fan of the meme coins. Like, I don't like that. Personally, that's just not something that vibes with me. I don't like it. But I can't do anything about it. I can't tell him what to do. I'm not an advisor to Trump. Whatever I say on the internet about Trump doing this being bad is not going to have any meaningful impact. I can only react to it as an investor. As an investor, I don't think you can be bearish crypto unless we're in the biggest bubble ever right now, which is possible, but I don't think that's necessarily the case given all the macro stuff we talked about in the first part of the show. I think if the commander-in-chief is raising $2.5 billion to buy Bitcoin, and the ETFs just brought in 6.5 billion of AUM when it comes to Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is buying another couple thousand Bitcoin every week. I mean, it's just really, really hard. The Saudis, the Chinese, we're debasing our fiat currency. We're spending all this money on deficit. Bitcoin's being viewed as this counter-cyclical hedge. It is hard to be bearish crypto. So from that perspective, I don't love that Trump's doing this. I also have to react to it as an investor. My personal way to get exposure is through Robinhood, which is up 5% of the day. Robinhood having a great day. But I also think that any exposure to Bitcoin or to crypto is not the worst idea over the next 5 years, just given this administration is going to be very crypto friendly when it comes to regulations. And the president himself is raising money for a Bitcoin treasury, which just means that it looks like you can be bearish on a lot of things, but it's hard to be super bearish on crypto. All right, last few headlines I want to leave for the day. Number one, Citadel. Citadel profits are up 70% year over year to 1.7 billion. This was reported today by the Financial Times, and this is due to a higher surge in trading volumes. This is super bullish, for Robinhood, because Robinhood gives a lot of payment for order flow to Citadel. So if Citadel is making a lot of money, that means Robinhood is probably participating in all that retail option and equity momentum. But it's another reason for bulls to kind of say, hey, people want to trade equities. People don't want to be stuck in bonds or gold or stuff like that. People want to engage in the public markets. And as a result, Citadel's fund that was down 1.7 in March 70% year over year in terms of profits is pretty incredible. A huge rebound for Citadel. Number 2, Neuralink. Elon Musk's company raised $600 million at a $9 billion valuation. Elon is now managing Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, Boring Company, and XAI, which owns X. A little busy. One can argue that any advancements in AI over the next decades will be the most impactful for Neuralink, a company that theoretically could help you see again, help you hear again, help you move your arms again. I mean, it's pretty damn incredible. But the fact that they were able to raise $600 million at a $9 billion valuation means, again, there is money in the private markets that wants to get allocated into different ideas. And Neuralink was able to raise that money today as well. Final thing I want to show you guys is a bit of a clip. This clip is from Morgan Stanley. I thought this clip was a really important one. This is Mike Wilson, which is their chief equity strategist, who talks about how much demand their research is suggesting is flowing into the market every single day. I think it's an important clip, and this clip kind of gives a lot more context in terms of how much pure momentum is in the broader stock market. So take a look at this clip.
Our work suggests that right now, retail is buying $5 billion a day, steady state, okay? Systematic strategies, CTAs, are buying about $5 to $6 billion a day for the next 30 days, because unless the market really falls out of bed, they're trend following. And corporates are buying about $5 billion a day. So you have $15 billion a day of demand in like S&P type products, you know, NASDAQ 100, whatever, the big stuff. I mean, you know, it's hard to imagine that you're going to get much. Like today's a good example. I mean, like, okay, so Treasury debt downgraded last week.
Yep.
Okay? Then JGBs go wild. They pass a tax deal that's not really, you know, friendly for the bond market. And what do we sell at 1%?
Yeah. Yeah.
It rallied.
Yeah, the market was down in the morning, and now it's up 45 basis
That's
points.
that $15 billion of demand.
Pretty incredible. $15 billion of demand coming in every day. It's why every dip is being bought. And from that perspective, if we continue to be in a market where there's strong earnings and pressure on yields to come down because inflation is coming down and we have different things that can help the treasury markets, that obviously can be very, very good for equity markets as there is all this demand coming in every single day. So that is it for me. We got a long week. Nvidia tomorrow. That's going to be a very important one. We'll talk more about what's going on in the world of Nvidia after earnings tomorrow. I'll be live at 3:30 p.m. with Tanner and Jose. So we'll be streaming it and we'll see what ends up happening in terms of Nvidia. Very excited for it. And I hope everyone can join us live. And yeah, Boston meetup, very special, super cool. Shout out to Steven, who he gave me, if you guys see in the back right there, a brick. And well, this was a good clip from the market open that hopefully, you know, gets to show how awesome of a community this has formed into. But thank you everybody for listening. Daily recap. We're done for today. We'll be back tomorrow after Nvidia earnings. Bye everyone. To take this moment to set the record straight. So a lot of people have been asking me, a lot of people ask me this in Boston as well. You know, Amit, you know, are the bricks real? Are the bricks actually real? Are they fake or are they real? And I'm just getting tired of this. And it's getting to the point where I think I need to set the air clear. And so today, this morning, I used, you know, my defense contracting guns, as you can see right here, and I ripped out a brick from the wall. And this is a real brick, as you guys can see. It's real. And I to let you guys know it's my brick, I put in right here. Wake your ass up and let's get into it. So I think now you guys see it's not, I can't freaking, it's not like mushy or anything. It's a real brick. It's from the wall. As you can see, it matches the architecture of the design. And so someone said 404 muscle not found. Okay, that's kind of rude. I'm not going to lie, that's kind of rude. But anyway, this is a real brick. Shout out to Steven Toro. Shout out to my brother. He came to the Boston meetup. This gift, I don't even know what to say about this gift, bro. I don't know what to say about this. This is absolutely insane. He said, Amit, I got something for you. I was like, all right, what's up? He pulls out a freaking brick. I mean, like, I don't know what to say, bro. Like, I looked at this and I'm like, there's no way you did this. And he hands it to me. So this is my guy. He's been watching the channel for damn near 3 years now. There he is right there. He's getting his PhD in biomedical chemistry. And he loves Bitcoin. And he's been telling me to buy Bitcoin for 3 years, but I ignored him. So now he's up a lot on Bitcoin and I'm not. So shout out to you, man. This was super awesome. There's a picture of us with the brick right there. That was cool. That was pretty cool. So this will definitely be heading to the new apartment. And I appreciate you, man. Like this is the reason I do this stuff. This is like, it's, you know, for people to care enough to order a freaking brick and have it engraved. Like, I don't know what to say, dude. It's hard to put into words how that makes me feel. It's like, It really, really is special. So shout out to you, brother. There he is right there. Biomedical sciences. Love this guy. Been watching for so many years. I'm so happy I got to meet you in person. And so many of you I've been known for years just through the YouTube chat. It was so awesome. I gave him a big hug as soon as I was like, I've been seeing you in the chat for 4 years. He was there on those Finance Junkie OG podcast days. And, he's still here in the chat every day. So, and he got Rock Lab right here, 2831. He got me to show you guys that the bricks are real. It's hard to deny that the bricks are indeed real. It's a real brick. It's part of the community. It's part of the show. It's a real brick. So, and whoever said 404 muscles not found, I respect the humor in that, but that was mean. I'm just going to say that straight up. That was not nice. Let's see what